Yeah, they still hear you. I just gotta finish getting some things together.
Hey, Chris, Oscar said he's got the meeting Friday.
Oh. All right, welcome back to Entirely Media. It's been a crazy start already, but again, guys, we are live Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. We got a heck of a slate tonight in terms of questions, and we'll unfortunately only have our lovely woman Ashley for the next 50 minutes, so we'll try to utilize it the best that we can. To get started, Aaron, I'm actually going to have you take the first lead on question one. Do you mind doing that for me?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys. So, Draymond Green recently took his podcast to slam what he calls a cowardly double standard by the NBA media regarding the firing of former Mavericks GM Nico Harrison. Draymond's argument centers on the infamous trade that sent Luka-Doncic to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. When Nico Harrison made the move, he cited concerns about Luka's defensive effort and conditioning. At the time, the media crushed him, calling him the worst GM in history, which Draymond believes directly led to Harris's firing in late 2025. Is it time to admit Nico was ahead of the curve on Luka's limitations, or was trading a generational player still an unforgivable sin?
I don't know. I feel like to some extent, two things can be true at the same time. I don't think it was any secret that Luca has his weaknesses, right? And I think that at the same time, Nico kind of felt like he was doing what was best for the team, but then at the same time, like the franchise player being traded, especially in that manner, was definitely a choice to say the least. But I don't know. I think that shit's gonna happen, and he made a decision, but he had to face the repercussions of it.
I mean, I'm just going to be real. Like, I agree with Ashley. Two things can be true. I don't even think Nico wanted to trade Luka from the start, because I feel like that was somebody's idea to trade Luka that was above him, up top, new ownership.
Yeah.
I just feel like Nico Harrison was the scapegoat. He's the one that's going to have to take, the brunt of the media and be the one to answer all those questions, like, why the fuck would you do that? Why would you trade a dude who just took us to the finals literally last year? But I mean, now that the Lakers are struggling, Luka is facing the same criticisms, his defense, conditioning, mainly complaining to the refs. That's the part that pisses me off the most. The same media members are regurgitating Harrison's original points, right? I mean, I believe Draymond is frustrated that probably no one has apologized to Nico, because now you got all these big media people backtracking, saying like, oh, no, that's not what I said. No. He's just simply viewing the media as having the power to ruin a man's livelihood with a narrative, only to adapt the same narrative themselves once it's convenient without acknowledging they were wrong. I mean, he's defending Nico's logic. The media and fans still point out that the return for Luka, and aging and, often injured AD was the real reason Harrison lost his job, to be honest, because obviously that trade didn't work out
At all.
at all.
Yeah. I feel you the same thing. Piggyback off what y'all two just said, but I feel like the Luka magic was just blinding everybody from his downfalls that he had, because like he didn't just stop playing defense. He always didn't play defense, but he was just doing so much on offense that it wasn't amplified. And so now that he's at the Lakers and he has more eyes on him, people are starting to see it more. He's Nico probably saw something behind closed doors. I had those conversations behind the closed doors with Luka, because the trade was just random. He went to sleep one day, the next day it was like, oh yeah, Luka's to the LA. And it's just like, what? Like, how did that happen? But so I just think time finally caught up with Luka, and he kind of showed his flaws after people started getting complacent with him.
Chris, from an agent perspective, what are your thoughts on obviously what Aaron's talking about in terms of Nico getting fired, and now obviously conversations are circling right back to his logic and hints to why he let Luka go.
Yeah, I mean, Draymond is perfect for this because Dre don't give a shit. Like he gonna speak his mind. So perfect person to, to bring this stance to the forefront. And Dre is always defending guys, right? Yeah, that's the whole push that he has with the new media, being able to say, hey, I want to be able to have another voice in here that's in the mix and give a different viewpoint, you know, from a lot of these topics. So that's one. Just from an agent standpoint, I think most of us agree from an executive standpoint, most of us agree that it wasn't Nico's call. Now, didn't he, I know Nico personally. I have not spoken to him about this at all, never asked him. But I think it put him in a tough situation. And I don't think that he was necessarily against it. What I mean by that is he could have stood on the table if he was definitely against it and said, you know what, no, fire me before I do that one. And so that could have been a stance he could have taken. Obviously, he could have been fired, but then he would have been able to come out and say, hey, man, that ownership group, why did you get fired? I wasn't willing to make that trade. So by making the trade, he's gotten the other end of the spectrum. So I'm really glad that Draymond pointed it out. I think we all kind of agree with him on the sentiment. I do believe that thing was, there was a little bit of planning as Nico and Rob Pelinka both spoke about the dialogue over some time. But obviously it got to a point where, they pulled the trigger, and I think that was a little bit of spur of the moment.
Very nice. Any comments on just how the media has obviously circled back to, essentially agree with the statements itself? Any comments on that?
Yeah, like I get the whole Luka needs to show more effort on defense because, like you alluded to, Darion, when you posted that one reel on the page, it's like you can't be an all-time great if you don't at least play both sides of the ball, which I completely agree, because all the greats have that in common. I'm not saying they have to be elite lockdown defenders, but you at least have to show that you give a damn about getting scored on, right? Mm-hmm. It's like an offensive lineman taking pride in making sure his quarterback doesn't get sacked, right? But I had this argument with my pops when the Mavs went on that crazy finals run. He was arguing like, see Luka playing defense? I'm like, Pop, he's not playing defense. I said, if you watch the Mavericks and the way their team is constructed, there's a bunch of dudes out there that are covering for him just in case he gets beat off the dribble. All right. Now, with the team that is currently constructed on the Lakers, we don't have those guys that can cover for him. So it's being exposed even more. He's not a good defender. He's just not. Let's just call it what it is. But that's no excuse for you not to care. Right now, we don't have the pieces that can cover for him. Once we get those pieces, I guarantee the fucking narrative will be being brought back up that, oh, look at him. He's finally stepped it on defense. Not really. No, he just knows he has guys back there that can cover his ass just in case he does get beat off the dribble.
Yeah, I also think it would be, if that trade can kind of set a precedent of, like, we're not going to accept, like, one-sided players, then I wouldn't be mad at the whole thing. I think the NBA has been real accepting of just somebody who may be a massive offensive talent but has a clear downside and a clear black hole in their game. And I think that starts at the top, because then it trickles down. You have these kids that are looking up to you, or looking up to these players, and like, okay, I want to model my game after that. But if it's only one-sided, that's exactly what's going to mirror on the child or on whoever may be looking up to that person and their skill set and everything. So I think it all comes down to, like, the NBA kind of becoming something that we never really thought it would become. And I think that almost, like, directly reflects why a lot of people can see the NBA as being softer, because defense is the toughest shit to do on the court. Like, not to say that anybody can go score 30 or whatever and do all that, but to be a lockdown, nasty, like, gritty defender, that's where all that shit comes from.
Excellent fucking point. Excellent fucking point. Just some quotes from last year that I just want to make sure go on record. Stephen A. said, obviously, Nico has committed a basketball crime, quote unquote. You don't trade a 25-year-old GOAT tier talent because he doesn't move his feet enough. Now, in March of 2026, he's saying, I'm looking at the Lakers' 24th ranked defense, and I see a superstar who's a defensive liability. It's infectious, it's cancerous, and it's costing them games. We look at Max, who is, I love Max as an analyst, but last year he said the Mavs just gave up the best young player since LeBron James. This is pure haterism from the front office. In 2026, he is now saying Luka is the leading man, but he hasn't embraced the role. Reggie Miller was right. Move your feet. Nico Harrison's reasoning hasn't been disproven. So it's goddamn night and day.
Exactly what Draymond was alluding to. He's saying, no. I got receipts for y'all. Remember what you said a year ago.
Right.
Now you don't want to admit you're wrong. This has always been the case. So don't switch up now. Stand on it. I think the only person that probably like said something in regards to the Luka trade in a like a positive manner was probably Kendrick Perkins, where he said, I think the Mavs may be better off without him. That was the only person that said something like very positive about the trade. Probably the only person. Obviously, he was wrong later on down the road. They are not better off without him because now the team is in complete rebuild mode. But still, Kendrick Perkins is the only one that can be like, I try to tell y'all.
Yeah. And to the question on TikTok, we'll get to that a little later, but thank you for asking. Because we're short on time in terms of how long we have, Ashley, I do want to move to some of the WNBA segments really quickly. First, I do want to talk about obviously calling the bluff there. So Breanna Stewart steps into her rhetoric as a WNBA, enters the critical 11th hour in the collective bargaining agreement negotiations, with the league imposing a deadline of March 10th, so 6 days out from that. We're late today, so let's just say 5 days out from that. It's really going to be hard for us to avoid disrupting, obviously, this upcoming season. Stewart is calling out the gap between, obviously, Adam Silver's public optimism, his actual presence at the table. I don't think he showed up to one thing, is what she said, right? So as of right now, does Adam Silver have a responsibility, Ashley, to step in and fix the WNBA stalemate, or is this Kathy's situation to figure out on her own?
I mean, you definitely have to put the responsibility on Kathy. That is her role. She is the WNBA commissioner, right? But considering that the WNBA is an entity of the NBA, then at some point I do believe that it would be like Adam's responsibility to kind of push the narrative along, push the envelope along. You know what I mean? But at the same time, if he does have to step in and that does have to become a part of the narrative, then Kathy just needs to be gone. I think that in general, we've seen that Kathy has already tainted so many relationships to the point where I don't see it as being repairable, you know? And having that type of turmoil it's just not really going to be very realistic to move on with with a happy, with a league that is going to leave a lasting positive legacy. So yeah, that's what I would have to say is that Kathy probably should have been fired after the comments that she made behind closed doors came to light. And especially now when we haven't been able to get an agreement that makes everybody happy and not just makes everybody happy, but is also feasible for both the league and the women.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Now, from a player's perspective, let's go into their minds a little bit. So obviously with Stewart specifically calling for Adam Silver to come to the table, does that request, in your opinion, actually kind of prove that players no longer view Kathy as a credible lead negotiator in this situation?
Oh, 100%. Not just that, but again, to the fact that we have come to this point, we've had two extensions in terms of the deadline, and now this is essentially a third. The women have just decided to continue to have the conversation without bringing, the deadline had just come like, what, a week or two ago?
Yeah.
And I think that it's just as clear as day. I don't know what else you need to see. And even from an outside perspective, like I'm not at that table. And the fact that it's taken this long and it's getting to the point where it is at the 11th hour, that we've just see that clearly Kathy has not been able to do her job as a commissioner, not just now, but since she's been at the role, because things don't like come to a boil as soon as you put it on the stove. Like it takes time to get to that point. So yeah, I think she's just honestly she's just shown her ass.
Very good point. And then I guess my last question in this regard is, I mean, if you're still trying to figure out negotiations in general, do you think now, or at least before the season gets started, is a good time to relieve her of her duties and kind of start fresh going into new negotiations, new seasons, new expectations?
I think at this point, that would be a tough transition. So let's say like they were able to get a negotiation and they are able to get into the season, whether it be delayed or not. That's that's going to be tough because then you have like things that are going to have to probably be fixed, things that are going to have to be aligned, and to be in a position where you're having a transition type of period in a very chaotic and just messy situation in the WNBA. I don't see that as being an ideal time to take somebody like the commissioner role out of their current position. But it definitely would be soon. I don't know if now would be the best time. I don't know if later would be the best time, but it definitely would have to be soon.
Okay, that's fair enough. Aaron, anything for Ashley on this segment?
Yeah, I think Breanna Stewart is making it, very clear. Her stance is very clear. If the NBA wants to protect its investment and not lose momentum, the man at the top needs to stop, tracking things closely, as he said, from afar and start, mediating the stalemate. Right. I mean, I thought the reason why he hadn't stepped in yet is because maybe he didn't want to step on Kathy's toes. But now you down to the wire. So somebody has to do something because we just saw Unrivaled sell out completely, sold out crowd, and you had fans cheating, pay the players. So what you gonna do? Because none of those ladies want to go overseas. All right, like Brianna's about to do. They don't want to do that. They don't want to have that, option on the table no more. They want to stay here in the States, all right? Where now the league has gotten to the point where more people are talking about it. There's more eyes on it. And it's just going to be crazy that in the middle of the peak of this whole thing, now it's going to be essentially put on the shelf until, both sides can come and meet in the middle. That's going to be the sad part of it.
Chris, from an agent perspective, and because you've seen the business on both sides, what do you think a good outcome of this, at least to get the season started in a manageable time, should be?
All right, so this is really, let me address a couple things. First, you don't want the commissioner to get involved, all right? If Adam Silver gets involved, that's going to be an L for the ladies. That the last thing you want to do is drag him into the business because although it's a part of the brand, he's not going to be as passionate, in my opinion, about you ladies. And the commissioner works, just so that you understand the roles, the commissioner works for the governors, used to be called owners of the NBA. That's who he works for. That is his job. He doesn't work for you as players. He works for the commissioners. So the last thing you want is for Adam to come in there because he could just draw the line in the sand and say, call your bluff. It would be reversed. So continue with Kathy, right? So that's one. I want to address that, and hopefully they come to a resolution soon. Ironically, for the women, this is really cool and unique. Last time we went through a lockout in the NBA was 2011-12, and you had everybody flirting with. You had some guys that went overseas, went to Europe, and that was kind of when I opened up the whole players going to China. But those were the only options for the men. The women are in a unique situation because, obviously you guys have Unrivaled and AU. You have these different platforms that are right here in the United States. And that could create more of a competitiveness, although those leagues are at different times. that's to your advantage. I mean, that is a huge advantage that you have. And I would say, continue to maybe use that to get a little bit more. But I would say this, the women need to figure out, in all negotiations, you have I'm a walk, and worst case scenario, what is my bluff in? I think the group, the union needs to come together and figure out, okay, like how much more do we need before we close this out? And I believe that they should be getting close to that threshold of where that's at. This 50-50 split, I understand that it's, I don't know, what is it, 15% or something like of the total revenues or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
But the way it's positioned, the 50-50 split, that is exactly what the NBA have. Now, the NBA, the Players Union, have a 50-50 split of all basketball-related income. So if the narrative, in the terminology is close to that, you're going to put the young ladies in a tough predicament. And if Adam comes in and he pushes that same narrative and that same language, then we might not see a league, at least not starting on time. And in regards to start time, D, you want to start as close as possible to the original start date, give and take a couple of weeks. Last time we had one, I think it went maybe about 2 or 3 weeks over. You shorten this because what happens is you have to shorten the season and you have less time for training camp. So you have more potential injuries and things of that nature. So it's negatively going to affect the brand. They need to start this on time.
And I think it might have to come to that. The WNBA is going to have to feel the the reality of what it is and the impact that these women have. And I don't think that that's the reality. Like I understand there's money involved and that's what needs to be in consideration and that's definitely from a business perspective. I never want to take that away and I think that a lot of people think that these women are just asking for unrealistic thing, but a lot of these are educated women that know like that have done their due diligence and everything. So I don't want to ever take away from that. And I also feel that the WNBA has kind of like they're banking on like a dissolvement of the players within the organization and their backing between like actually walking away because I remember having many conversations with people and they're like, "Oh, this is not really going to be as serious. This will be figured out in a month and two." And now here we are. I don't think a lot of people thought that this is where these negotiations would come. And there was actually a statement released today that really put some things to rest because there had been some conversations about players are starting to like disband a little bit because you have the people that make a lot of money and then the people that really don't, and the people that are struggling maybe financially or just not in the same place as the top 5%, that they're going to start getting cold feet and not really wanting to stay in this and really like do what needs to be done for the league because you see people like Breanna Stewart going overseas, right? But I think that this is really the only way that the WNBA is really going to see because we see the impact of women's basketball in a league like Unrivaled, and you can't help but think like, what if the WNBA would just invest into these women the way that they deserve because you see what happens when you invest in women's sports. You're seeing it not just in women's basketball, but in other sports as well. And if you really wanted the league to be successful, then you would do anything that's truly feasible for this league to not just happen, but happen on time, happen in probably the best way possible. Because you also have so many prospects that are going to be in this year's draft that it's going to be devastating if we don't give them the true rookie season that they really deserve. And people are going to feel that way more too. And I just think that it's really going to be up to the WNBA to really understand that and see that the women do not need this league. The league needs the women, needs the players. And that's point blank period. And I think that that's really what it's going to come to if they're going to invest in the women the way that they should be invested, invest in the women that in the way that Unrivaled has invested in their players and see it grow in less than 2 years. Unrivaled has done what they did and are continuing to do in 2 years. And the NBA, the WNBA has been here for what, 30, 40, 50 years? Like, let's just be for real. It's ridiculous.
She's dropping bars.
Yeah, bro.
Golly. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yo, and for those that didn't see it, just let's put this back up on the stream. Things that
saw
don't
it.
come to things don't come to a boil. What the hold on, I can't even read. Actually said it one more time for me. Golly.
Things don't come to a boil when you put them on the stove.
Oh my gosh.
Damn.
It's, it's crazy.
Very
Excellent take. Excellent take. Excellent take. Again, I want to get you for as long as we can. So, I want you to kind of give it to me straight in terms since you brought up Unrivaled. Shifting from the front office to the floor, obviously Chelsea Gray, who has had an amazing season with Unrivaled, was officially named the 2026 MVP. It was a historical season, and we all saw it. And so my only question for you is, when you look at her numbers this season versus some of, I guess in this case it'd be Paige Beckers and obviously Kelsey Plum, because their two teams are the ones actually participating in the finals for $600,000. Paige only averaged 2 less points than her, averaged more rebounds than her, and 1 assist less. She shot just a little bit lower than her in terms of field goal and 3, and then Kelsey is right behind them. So they're all kind of close in scoring, but obviously Paige has a better record at 9-5, made it to the finals, and Kelsey's team is 11-3, and obviously made it to the finals. Do you think it was right of Unrivaled to give that MVP to a player whose stats were close but didn't make it to the finals?
I think people are looking at this in like WNBA eyes, because you also have to take into consideration who won the in-season tournament, and I think that is going to play a factor, right? And I also think that it was going to be tough for like Paige to come in and do that off the bat, with this being her first year in it and everything. Not to say that she was nowhere near to deserving it or whatever the case may be, but I heard a lot of talk about Chelsea Gray this season, when it came to Unrivaled. Every game that they played, she was one of the people that is going to be talked about immediately. And it doesn't necessarily hold the same weight when it's Paige, because Paige is going to get talked about regardless. That's just the heat around her name right now. But when a veteran can do what Chelsea Gray has been able to do, and the consistency that she's been able to bring, I don't think it's not necessarily the worst thing to say that she deserved that trophy.
Very well said. Aaron, what's your comments on that?
No, I ain't got no problem with it. All right. Hey, Paige, Kelsey. Now you know what, some NBA dudes feel like when they don't win MVP. That's just the reality of it, man. Like, look, she finished first in points, 339 total points. Total assists, 89. Made 3-pointers, 49. She averaged 24 points a game. That was second in the league. Leading 6 assists per game. And it's not her only trophy this season. She won the one-on-one tournament, defeating Alicia Gray in the finals to take home the $200K prize. She's the first player to hold the league MVP, finals MVP from the dub, and the one-on-one title all in the same year, simultaneously. The main point of contention, I guess, for critics is that her team Rose, finished 6-8. It was eliminated in the first round by Breeze. But this puts Gray in the rare company of MVPs who won, individual awards despite their team's early exit, which I guess is fueling the individual brilliance versus winning debate. I guess that's what some people are kind of upset about. But fuck all that. I was the best player. I don't give a fuck about them wins. All right. Candace Parker's tearful reaction on TNT, it set a highlighted how much this meant for Gray, who spent much of 2024. She was injured most of that, right? She was recovering from a foot injury. So this season was her statement that she is still arguably the best floor general in the dub. So I ain't got no problem with it whatsoever.
Kyle, you had a great quote about the women's game in general, just the fact that we're able to have these conversations. What's your take on how you've seen the game grow, especially with Unrivaled this year?
So we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. Unrivaled having a sold out stadium is just that's just crazy in itself. And I know people personally who are traveling to go, especially when it's out in Philly. People who are traveling out to go there. Like, there's so much momentum going with the W and just like the women's sports. And Ashley touched on it too. Like, the freshman class is coming in, the rookie class is coming in early. Like there's so much momentum, and I think the fan base is there. The W of now is not what it used to be. The talent's always been there, but now with the media and everything that's coming on, like there's so much momentum, and everybody wants to watch these games. Everybody wants to watch these games. They're willing to pay to these games. They're willing to pay top dollar to be around the Heat when it comes to the W. So I just think it's amazing that we're able to have this conversation, and the people are finally, and the women are actually getting the support and the recognition that they deserve, because they've been doing this for so long, but now they're finally getting noise, and it's kind of being halted because they're asking for money for the product that they're putting out. They're producing good product, quality product, but now you're not trying to pay me. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, not a learning curve, but just an adjustment period. But I think at the end of the day, they're going to end up giving the money.
I love it.
I just want to say one thing about the freshmen, this incoming class that you guys are pointing out. I mean, they're so talented, not just with talent, they all have their own brands. You take a young lady like Flau'jae Johnson, who definitely doesn't need the W at all, right? I mean, she's an entertainer. Obviously, these other two leagues, the amount of money that someone like that will command just from their personal brand in the other leagues, and then things off the court. I mean, you're not going to be able to hold an individual like that hostage with the W. So I am incredibly impressed about everything that you guys are saying and where these leagues are growing, and just the impact that the women's game has had on the country just as a whole. It's incredible, impressive.
Good stuff. Yeah, let's give it up for women's sports in general, but especially the W. It's insane. All right, excellent. I want to talk real quick just about that last question. Golly, go women! Aaron, you want to since this is more your segment here, you want to take that complex 30 for me?
Yeah, sure. So, guys, recently Complex Sports refreshed their rankings of the 30 greatest NBA players of all time. And as with any top 30 lists, it's sparking massive debate. The list manages to balance historical dominance with the, I guess, how do you pronounce the word? Meteoric rise of modern stars who have completely altered the league's dominance over the last few seasons. All right, so we know the top three. It's MJ 1, LeBron 2, Kareem 3. But who is officially number 4? Has Steph Curry done enough to leapfrog Magic and Bird?
Hell no. Keep going. That spot. Hell no. Magic Johnson is 4. Will always be 4 at the bare minimum. You can debate Magic for 3, damn near 2. That's Magic Johnson, whose career was cut short. You understand? 5 NBA championships, came in rookie season, right? Lost Kareem, who's ahead of him. Jump center, was the most valuable player in the finals, playing out of position as a rookie. Changed the game, because y'all always talk this change the game shit. Magic and Larry changed the game. The NBA was a dying product. That shit was on tape delay. But because of Magic and Bird, that shit went live. You understand? Changed the game. So ain't no narratives. I don't want to hear all these narratives. 6'9" point guard, changed the game. All of that. I understand. No disrespect to Steph and shit.
Did Steph not change the game too?
Yeah, great. Okay, you changed the game. But you ain't past Magic. There we go.
Your whole argument was change the game. You changed it too, but no.
I ain't like your change.
You ain't changed the way Magic changed it.
That's the leapfrog. See, that's the attempt to leapfrog. No, you got to do more than leapfrog. You got to do more than that to leapfrog. You understand?
No.
Because Magic is so nice and cool and all that shit. No. Ain't no leapfrogging Magic at point guard. That shit's it ain't debatable. But go ahead and debate it anyway. But I wanted to get that clear. Magic is number 4. You understand? At the worst.
He's number 4. So what is your all-time 5 then? If Magic's 4, let me hear that 5.
The fifth one. I'm putting Kobe at 5.
Who's 3 then?
I'm good with MJ, LeBron, Kareem, Magic, and Kobe.
Oh, you have Kareem. That's okay. My bad. I didn't
How
hear
the fuck
Kareem.
you can't get rid of Kareem? I told you that. He argued him about to be the GOAT. You understand? Best high school career, college career of any player ever. So yeah. Set the standard. Now, Bron chopped it down. Set the standard. How long did his scoring title last? How many years?
It's damn near like 30.
Okay. All right.
All right.
And with Kareem, he was 1 for 18.
Magic left the
from three-point
game.
line.
Sorry,
He only
Murph.
made
I'm
one
sorry. I'm sorry, Murph. Hold on.
Hold on,
Sorry,
Kyle.
Murph. Magic left the game on top. You understand?
Hold on. Hold
When
on,
he
Kyle.
left the game, he was on top. He was coming off the finals. He was on top of his game. It wasn't no decrease. Wasn't no dump off. On top.
You can't use that as an argument, though.
What you mean?
How can you? It wasn't at his own. You're using the same thing to argue two different sides. Because you just said that
Right.
like he left. You said he left at the top of his career, so we really didn't like get to see because of outside things that had nothing to do with his career. He didn't decide to step away because he felt like he did everything he's done. And then on the other hand, you just said that like he left on a high note. Like he left the game up here. Yeah, because he
didn't-
had no choice.
Right.
That
He had no
wasn't- that
choice. That's
wasn't-
my point. Yeah, he had no choice. So I'm saying his whole story wasn't finished. But where his story did finish is still good enough. I'm simply
So how
saying
many
to you,
years, how many more seasons you think he had in him?
I say about 3 more.
Steph.
I don't know how you
what's
can put
the-
a number
the-
on it. I mean, because
The
he
beauty
was
about Steph is even if he starts to slow down, he's still an excellent shooter, and you can never, shooters last a long time in the league. So I think I'm with you on that, about 3 years.
I mean, the only tweak I would put to this list is I would put Steph above Larry. Larry's at 10, Steph's at 11. All right. And then I'm very, very surprised that, I'm very surprised that Shea cracked number 30. That's what I was very surprised at. I guess Complex is prioritizing peak dominance right now over, traditional impact, I guess, over a period of time. I mean, Nikola Jokic is in there. I'm very surprised by that, considering he's still got a lot of years left. You know what I mean? And he's already ahead of legends like Big O, and Kevin Garnett, and then Scottie Pippen. They gave Scottie Pippen his flowers, thankfully. You know what I'm saying? And then what else? Top teams remaining.
I'm glad they
The
did.
11-20 range is just that could be interchangeable like crazy. That's the only
He
thing
said
I really.
Kareem. Come on.
Yeah,
man.
that's the only thing I really got for this. I mean, it's not a bad list. I really couldn't argue with this list. It's not bad. This is probably the most, like, I would say, accurate list ever. But for me, like when it comes to the top 3, it's always going to be MJ, LeBron, Kobe. I don't care what order you put them in. As long as they're in the top 3, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, that sounds great. But what about the other two, buddy?
What, my other 2? Oh, let me go ahead and get Tim Duncan and Shaq.
Oh, okay. Kyle, where you at on that?
No, same 1, 2, 3. Kobe, LeBron, Mike. I'm glad that they put Kobe in the top 10 instead of putting him at number 11. I don't think it was Complex who made the last one, but
That was ESPN or Bleacher Report's dumbass.
bad, like just stupid. But so I think that's interchangeable. I put Shaq in there, and just because of I like watching him play is Kyrie, but I mean not Kyrie, Curry, and so I'll put Curry as 5. But
Where you
this
at
is the
on this?
one that- I was gonna say, hold up. This is the one that really surprised me. They got Giannis below Charles Barkley. That's the part
Charles
that
Barkley
got me.
never won anything though.
He's number 21. Giannis is 23.
Yeah, no.
I got more MVPs, Defensive Player of the Years, and I got a chip, but yet somehow I'm below you.
Michael Jordan. That's how he was going against Mike. Everybody didn't get a
I don't
turn
care.
against Mike. Everybody
don't
didn't
care.
get a turn against Mike.
I don't care.
You ain't
I-
get-
it's
So
not my
if-
fault. I
If
was
you
born
play
in a
Mike, you're
certain era.
automatically better than other players. That's
I mean,
crazy.
you got to beat Mike.
he did take a lot of.
Like,
Yeah.
Mike took all type of Hall of Famers out. All type of motherfuckers didn't get him. Karl Malone didn't get it. It's a shit ton of guys that could, because Mike.
I get
You
that,
got to
but we
beat
just
Mike. That's why the
before it gets-
argument that Mike
no.
ain't.
No.
Yeah.
If Kobe
Yeah,
is a mimic version of Mike, then what does that mean? Carmelo should be higher on the list because he didn't win with Denver against that back-to-back run in 09, 010. Everyone that played Kobe and lost in his 5 championship rings, they're now higher on the list. Is that accurate for him too?
It ain't
My
Mike.
individual accolades are better than yours,
What
and I
we
have a
talking
chip to
about? We
add
talking
to it.
about Mike.
But I'm just
I'm
saying,
like,
for Giannis can
okay.
make the case like I have more individual accolades than you, and I have a chip to add to the resume as well. How are you 2 places above me?
Bro,
Individually, I'm
Dream-
better,
if-
and I won.
Right. If Mike didn't go
No, he
play
played against Mike.
baseball, if Mike didn't go play baseball, you understand? Then the Dream might not have no rings. I mean, you understand? Like the Dream potentially would have no rings if Mike was like, "I'm gonna just ride this out. I ain't gonna go play baseball." That shit isn't.
And
If
and
it's
Steph would
for
probably have
fits, we all
6
be
rings
drunk.
if he didn't play LeBron.
Here we go. So then there we go. Oh, so everybody, so y'all just gonna put them all in there. Steph,
Actually,
LeBron.
You're not even
Talk some sense
arguing
to
for
him,
Charles
please.
Barkley. You're just arguing that MJ was in
Barkley
his
out.
Right.
prime.
It's all about Mike.
Barkley
He played
out
against
cold.
Mike.
MJ took everybody out.
You're not
Barkley
even
will
defending
bust
Charles. You're
Giannis
just saying,
ass.
well, yeah, you ran into Mike.
Barkley will bust Giannis ass.
Sign off.
Barkley will bust Giannis ass. Y'all don't watch enough
is
film. Go
6'6".
watch some film, and you will see Barkley will
Barkley
bust
is
that ass.
6'6". It's not
Barkley will-
keeping doing Giannis.
Barkley was dunking on all type of.
Barkley's 6'6".
First of all, Barkley played in the era with real 7-footers, right? Real
I
7-footers.
get it, but
Okay. Oh, did he play in the era with real 7-footers? Yes or no? Okay.
I'm just saying,
Giannis
Barkley
is a
got Giannis has to
7-footer.
guard Giannis.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, Barkley got to guard Giannis, and Giannis has to guard Barkley. Like me, like I'm giving my money to Giannis because he's 7 foot, just as strong, more athletic,
Better handles.
better handles. He just a better pause, like better package
I'm a
than,
dog.
than
Okay, Draymond Green is 6'4.5", 6'5", and he a dog. He be blocking the shit out of motherfuckers 7 feet and punking them, right? That's Barkley with skill. Punking motherfuckers. Giannis would be fucking crying. Barkley was going against C-Webb, Shaq, all the motherfuckers. All of them.
Junior, I know
Real
you hear me. Make sure
7-foot
you take this
Hakeem, the
timestamp.
Dream, all of
C
them.
Webb is not Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I'm gonna say
He's not.
There's only a
No
few players.
disrespect,
that can
C-Webb.
play.
Have you
But
ever
he's
stood
not
next to
Giannis.
C-Webb? Have you ever stood next
Oh
to
yeah, I've
C-Webb?
seen C Webb, but he ain't Giannis.
In what capacity?
In what capacity? Offensively, rebounding, passing, athleticism.
No.
You don't get to name the Greek freak for no reason.
You do because you play in a different era. There ain't no freaks.
No, you do it because you're a freak of nature.
Ain't no
It's,
okay.
yeah. It wasn't called C Webb no freak
It
of
was a
nature.
shit ton of them. It was a shit ton of them, man, in the 90s, man.
What's their
the 80s
names?
and 90s.
Because we don't talk about.
David Robinson, Pat Ewing, like what are we talking about? Everybody had 7-footers running and jumping and dunking. That wasn't no big thing.
Oh, it was common.
You had
back
the
then, huh?
Twin Towers.
So it's so common
What
back
you talking
then that they had to give a Greek freak name that's never been heard of to a player that they said they'd never seen before.
It's because he
But it was so
an
common back then.
African Greek. It wasn't all of these foreigners. What are you talking about? Yeah, African, Greek
Yeah,
freak.
Greco-Nigerian.
Yeah.
But, hey,
The
you don't
name
pick
comes
your
from the
nickname,
land.
Chris,
It don't
it's
come
given
from
to
his
you.
motherfucking talent.
You don't pick your nickname, Chris. It's given to you.
That's because did they call him the alien or anything like that? It's Greek, right? They gave him the nickname because of where he's from. That's it.
Exactly my point. He don't pick it. It's given to you. Just like Wemby. The alien was given to him. Why? Because he literally looks like a fucking alien, a slender man.
All right, you ever heard of the Iceman? Do you know that?
Yeah, we know
player-
about George Jordan and all
Okay,
that
so you
shit.
had a
We know
shit-
about it.
That was the thing. Nike had a whole campaign about nicknames. Dominique Wilkins, the human highlight film. What are y'all talking about? Y'all just now, you motherfuckers got to start watching TV and Google, YouTube, or something. Nicknames was a thing back in the day. Everybody had a nickname. Magic Johnson.
And not many
George
people
Gervin,
nowadays have
Iceman.
nicknames
That-
because we can't be too loose with
Do
that
you know
shit.
Magic's name is not Magic? It's
It's Irvin. We all know
okay.
that. But ain't nobody
What you
finna call that
talking
nigga Irvin.
You got your Greek freak, one nickname, and two nicknames, and all of a sudden nicknames is a big thing. What are we talking about? Man, get back to the subject. Go down further on the
Next
list. Man. Come
question.
on. Yeah, go on further down.
Gosh, hilarious.
Got him.
You got to
never-
now you
You're never gonna convince me that
Hell
he's
no.
better. You never.
Right.
I
Right.
ain't
Especially
trying
because he has
to,
a
big
ring.
dog.
Ashley, real quick, who's your 5?
I got the same top 3. Don't think you can really do much with that. I'm putting Shaq in there too. Because of my heart of hearts, I'm going to put AI in there. That's the last one.
Same with my Curry pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff.
But I would say that was a great list. Like that's the best list I've seen, like from top to bottom. Just like giving flowers to every era, really kind of making that, it seemed like it wasn't any. Typically, you see these lists and it's like catering
Biased.
towards, it's always biased towards, one era. This seemed like a list that was really unbiased and just kind of gave flowers to all. He said,
He
average.
said Giannis.
Yeah.
Barkley would average 160 today.
Shaq would average 250 if that's the case, big dog. But I appreciate that comment.
Yes. Speaking of Giannis, obviously he made his return on the 2nd, so a couple nights ago against the Celtics, and it didn't look too good. He put up 19, 11 in 25 minutes, but the Bucks are obviously still being blown out by teams 108 to 81. Is his return? I mean, obviously he's hooper, he's going to play. I get that, but is this return, at least in his eyes, about trying to salvage the season and make the playoffs, or you think he's more focused on just doing him and maybe testing the waters this summer in free agency?
Man, I told y'all that man was not getting traded by the trade deadline. I said they're going to wait till summer because that's the best thing they can do for both parties. All right. He admitted he can't Superman his way through these injuries no more. All right. He noted that while he used to return early, he now has to be methodical, acknowledging that at 31, a soft tissue injury like this calf string, it lingers longer. Right. I mean, the Bucks are currently 11th in the East, 26-33, trailing the Hornets. Yeah, that's right. The Hornets for the final playing spot with only 15, 16 wins when Giannis plays this season.
Are you saying Hornets?
Hornets. All right. His return isn't a guaranteed fix. All right. It's just a desperate final stand. All right. The team Giannis returned to looks different. All right. You got Kyle Kuzma and Miles Turner in the mix in young pieces. Like a dude, I don't even know how to pronounce his first name. I'm just going to say his last name. Dang, getting starts. The chemistry is clearly a work in progress. All right. He's just showing that he still got it for the remainder of the season. And then by summertime, we're going to see breaking news. He's somewhere else.
Well, all on the topic of that, but I think that Giannis is actually still one of the people who's going to compete any day, like every single day, regardless if he's hurt or if his team is not where he wants to be. Damn.
We ain't gonna do that.
My God.
We ain't gonna do that. I ain't mad at you activated, but we ain't gonna do that, big dog. We ain't gonna play that role. Yeah, we ain't gonna do that role.
Yeah, we do gotta
But I think he's one of the people who's going to compete. So I think he's still, especially with the young core that he has, and like he has a good team. He has a solid young team. So I think he's going to work out as much as he can this year and do and work with what he has. But when the summer comes, I think he is going to get out of there. But the Bucks look good. They got a young talented team. They just got to find that chemistry.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's about either one of those things for me, but at least about making a playoff push or even, him testing the waters in free agency. I think him coming back, if that's what the question is solely about, it's just, I mean, nobody that wants to win or wants to play basketball wants to sit on the sideline as well. So I think that's clearly what this is about for me. But Ashley, before I let you, I know I have like 30 seconds or so. If Giannis were to leave this season or summer, where do you think he would be best fit?
Ooh. Uh, I I don't know. I really don't know. I think that there's always gonna be, not always. There's some teams that are like good where they're at, but you can find a space for him. Like I don't think there's gonna be many places that wouldn't do what they got to do to try to get him over there. Um, yeah.
Chris, I want to pose the same question to you. It is 9 o'clock. Real quick before you go, let's all obviously say goodbye to Ashley. Have a great night. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you guys.
Give you a little cheering effect. It's going to last about 36 seconds. See you later. All right, Chris, you want to go ahead and take that one? What's a good fit for Mr. Antetokounmpo next year?
See, y'all done got me all activated, my man, in the
Yeah, he was
comments. You
hyped up.
right.
He was hyped up.
They got Unc all tight. You feel me? Unc was about
Yeah.
ready to get on it.
Let's
Was
get
mad.
to it. Let's get to it, Unc.
Oh man, you right, big dog. Shit, man. I mean, Giannis can go anywhere and fit. The problem is gonna be that damn cap, right? It's gonna be. It got to be a sign and trade. Not necessarily if he's. I mean, because I guess he's still on a long-term deal. But
Yeah.
from a trade standpoint, the Bucks aren't idiots, right? And they're gonna have all summer to work through this. So you got to give up some assets. So anywhere that he goes, right? I mean, you always going to think contender, somebody that's like, yo, we can leapfrog some guys with Giannis. So it got to be some teams with some assets. But the problem is in the East, everything's top heavy. Probably the Pistons could pull it off. The Pistons is, ironically, the Pistons is probably the one team that can pull it off. But it'd be a hell of a decision that they would have to make. It would have to include Jalen Duren. Would you trade out Jalen Duren as a young potential Giannis type, and believe that he helps you get over the top, depending on how that playoff run goes for them, right? Does that, hey, we're here, we're at the top of the league, Giannis makes us a championship team. Yeah, we're gonna give up Jalen Duren. That would probably be destination number one. Outside of that, Orlando has some good talent. They have a lot of length and a lot of young guys that have all of these potential tags that we thought were all going to be really great. And, some of them are reaching that. I mean, obviously, Paolo Banchero and others, but it has to make sense, right? You got to keep Paolo in order for it to be sexy enough for the Magic to make a move like that. On the West,
Please say.
I don't want to hear this Lakers shit. Lakers can't
Oh
just
my God.
keep. I
No.
can't. You know what I mean?
No.
Shit, already Lakers. Man,
Yeah.
They're
wow.
not giving up Reeves. We're not
Yes.
giving up Reeves.
No, we're not. No. And,
We're not
so,
giving up Reeves.
Chris, you weren't
Weird.
here, but
You said we there?
but
What
hey, look,
happened?
look, I don't know where to go anymore. Like every
What
time
happened?
Katie goes somewhere, we ain't doing too good, so I might have to jump ship. No, Chris, you weren't here for this, but Aaron, I, and Kyle we actually debated this. I was going to put this out today, but we ultimately think that if Giannis were to leave and and the numbers work out, which I think they could, LA could be that fit. Now, listen. Not only do we say they should pick up Giannis, but there's a really, really, really solid player down there in Denver that we were talking about that could make this fit and make the money work. Aaron, do you remember what his name was?
His name was motherfucking. It's like Watson. Was it Watson?
Yes.
Watson.
Yes. Aaron, do you want to go into why you thought Giannis would be a good fit for LA? And I'll talk about why I think they should also pick up Watson in the offseason.
One, because if LeBron does decide not to return to LA, it's obviously going to open up that cap space. We would still be able to sign Austin Reeves, and we would still be able to afford Giannis as well. Plus, I feel like with Watson, he's like a 3-and-D guy as well, and it helps what we're lacking up in LA. Giannis covers up our defensive hole because he's also a guy who can not only guard on the perimeter, he can also protect the rim. Watson is also a knockdown three-point shooter and a guy who can guard out on the perimeter. So we add Giannis at the 4. we got Watson at the 3, Reeves at the 2, and Luka at the 1. The only question from there is like, what do we do with our center? All right. I don't know if we plan on keeping DeAndre Ayton because he does have a player option going into this summer, so he could opt in if he wanted to. And then we got Jackson Hayes as the backup. Me personally, I want us to bring back Jackson Hayes, but I don't know what his contract situation is like. I don't know what he's on this year. So hopefully he decides to stay. But in terms of a starting center, that would be the only position that we would have to figure out if DeAndre Ayton does not return.
Yeah. And Chris, the reason I brought up Watson, I mean, Aaron touched on a little bit in terms of just what his skill set is, right? Obviously, he's an elite 3-and-D, and obviously he's playing in Denver, so he's being a little bit overshadowed behind Aaron Gordon and obviously Jokic. But for me, at least, when you look at the numbers, and this is where I wanted to talk to you about this, it's Denver's not going to be able to match what other teams could give him. And if the Lakers are serious about getting someone like Peyton Watson, then you're looking at, I don't know, maybe $213 million on that payroll. But they're already paying, obviously, Jokic, Murray, and Aaron Gordon almost $150 million alone next season. And so if the Lakers, and I think this would be really contingent on what they want to do with LeBron, if he's not on that roster next year, then you're clearing up $55 to damn near $80 million in cap space that you could bring someone over like a Peyton and leave some for Giannis too. And because you're able to offer that to Peyton Watson, especially as young as he is, then you're putting Denver in a situation where they're not going to be able to match that. And so I think that's really, really good to get a player like that. I mean, you talk about the second apron a lot, and I think based on what I'm learning from you, so thank you, Chris, that penalty that would push them into the second apron if they're talking about matching any type of deal for Watson would cost them damn near $100 million. So that's ridiculous.
Yeah, all right. So let's dive into this. So first of all, the cap is 154 million.
Okay.
So both of these teams are already in the apron. They're already over the cap. They're already in the apron, right? The Lakers are at 195 million, right? So they're already well into over the cap. They're well into the apron. And the Nuggets are at 186 million. So they're 30 million over as well. Mm-hmm. So it's not, hey, we free up LeBron and then all of a sudden we have this space. You're automatically already over the cap. So the only way to go over the cap is to use exceptions. So there, obviously, and we don't have to go on each one of those. So there had to be some type of sign and trade. So guess what? You actually need the Lakers to help you make it work, because in order to get this player, you got to have a sign and trade and to retain his bird rights, things of this nature. Otherwise, you just don't have enough cap space to sign him. So I guess my assumption is you're saying, I mean, in order for this to work, Bron got to go. I mean, somebody has to go. I'm not going to be the one to say Bron has to go. You just got too many guys.
Yeah.
Now you get 18 million from Rui. You do have some guys. You got Luke Kennard and you got Max Kepler. All right, so let me back up. The Lakers are at 107 million today for next year. So they're under the cap today. That means no return of Bron, no return of Rui, no return of Luke Kennard, no return of Max Kepler. All right.
I'm cool with that.
That shit. I mean, if you're getting Giannis and Peyton Watson, shit, yes. Hey,
all those guys
for the door, bro. For the door.
You're like, keep going. What else we got? All right. Jackson Hayes, he's out of there. He's at 3.5. So that puts you at 107. Now, if you just start right there, you can go get anybody. There's any player you can go get.
Well, wait a minute.
Right? Any free agent that exists,
anybody?
you got anybody. You got enough money to sign any player. So you can start there. So if you replace all of them, so that's Giannis, that's anybody. All right. And in a trade scenario, because you got trade clauses, you can continue to go over. So you can sign in free agency while you're under the cap, and then you can, from a timely standpoint, you can make trades using your trade exceptions, and then creep into the, being over the cap and going and dive into where you're going to stand on the apron and things of that nature. So the Lakers are sitting great. The question is the commitment to LeBron, number one, and then who's the free agent that you're targeting and where you want to go with things. So you guys have planned this out great. I mean, both of those targets would be fantastic. Again, it just would be coming off LeBron. And if you Laker Nation are on that, then this is a discussion. If they're not coming off LeBron, none of this shit is possible for the most part.
I take that deal. Hey, fellas, y'all take that deal? I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
That's a
Damn good deal.
Hell of a good deal. I mean, that's probably going to be. I mean, I can't think of one, but that might be the hardest
Denver?
conversation in sports.
Let me just say one. Denver's in trouble. Like,
Yeah.
they can't fuck with them. They're at 215 today, right? Their next year's salary is 215. Period. Right? And that's with Peyton Watson not re-signing him, Tim Hardaway coming off, Bruce Bowen coming off. After that, everybody is locked in. Jokic and Murray are both at 50 million. Aaron Gordon at 33. Shit. Aaron Gordon 33, 33,
Jokic.
36, 39.
Jokic, though, Chris, he didn't sign his extension this past summer. So,
Yeah, but he's still.
Like I said, they're taking up those three players are taking $150 million plus.
I'm just saying, Jokic could be on the move this summer is all I'm saying. If we can't get Giannis, I'll take big fella from Serbia too.
I mean, Jokic ain't going nowhere. He's under contract. They don't have to make a move. I mean, they can play it out. They don't have to extend him right away. They still can play it out and kind of go from there. Now, ain't smart, but
I'm just saying, him and Luka, they like best friends. You know what I'm saying? Luka in his ear, like, hey man, trying to play together. Demand a trade, come this way.
So, bro, that's been locked in with us all stream says Bron shouldn't retire, but he needs to leave the Lakers. Or his his second comment on this is, or take the biggest cut in NBA history. So I mean
He could.
at minimum,
he could. I mean, that's the thing. He's made more than enough money, but as someone that's been around the game long enough and knows his value, do you think that's even something he would consider doing?
To win another championship, I believe so.
But do you think that's even a bigger question? I can't speak for anybody, especially no man that's in his position and has won what he has won in his history. But do you think that's even a thought that he has? Like fuck, I still need to win more. I still need to win one more.
I don't think he does. I think he's proved everything. I mean, I think he wouldn't shy away from getting the ring, but I don't think he would manipulate and dropping his pay that much just to get a ring.
Let me chime in. What I think he's at in his career is this. Everything we're saying is right. He's won everything. He's gotten everything. His legacy is established. I would think it would be a family commitment from the standpoint that Bronny is there. Mm-hmm. Let me continue to ride this out with Bronny. Our family has moved to LA. We're in Beverly Hills. You know what I mean? We're comfortable. We like our lifestyle. I do want to continue to play at this point. I don't want to disrespect him and say it's a hobby, but I'm just saying, like, he doesn't have to do or prove anything. So he's doing it, in my opinion, out of fun and just love for the game. So he could he doesn't have to take the vet minimum. He could
10 million.
He could be like a mid-level exception salary or something like that. He could take one of the exception salaries, if you will, drop down to $12 million a year, something like that, if he desired. But I would think that it would have to be just the family dynamic is the only thing that I could see that make him do that.
Yeah, I was about to say that too. He was like, people will use it to diminish his legacy, but those who actually watch the game, like, they would know that, all right, Bron trying to get another chip. Bron trying to do what he has to do because he still has gas in the tank. Like, he's still man on the court. He's not out there just collecting a ring. If he's going to do another ring chase, like, he's going to be an asset to whatever team that he's on. So
and that's my thing too, because if there's a second conversation that can be had where you're avoiding that first one of, again, what I was trying to say is the hardest one in history, where you have to talk about moving on from LeBron fucking James, right? And especially a man that, like Kyle, you were just saying, he's been consistent all his career, even this year at the age of fucking 40, 41, right? He's giving you 21 and 7 at that age, which is still top tier in this league. But the problem for me, and Aaron, you know this better than anyone because this is your squad, right? Even though the Lakers are sitting at the 6th seed, it's been negative talk all year, and the defense is the worst. It's the top 10 worst defense in the league, and everyone knows this. You can't win an NBA championship or really any championship with a defense that's soft. And so I think the reality is, if you have that conversation with Bron and and you can convince him to take a minimum in order for you to, I guess, reactivate the bigger picture, which the bigger picture is you brought Luka in, you changed your whole regime and from the players up to make this team Luka's team, right? If that is your buy-in, well, then you gotta build a team around that, and that team starts defensively. Like, you can have a great wall in LA if you get the players that we talked about, Giannis and Peyton Watson, and if you're choosing to stay with LeBron at that number of $52 million, then to me the Lakers are telling the world that, hey, like, we're choosing LeBron's retirement tour over building something for the future and maximizing on the young talent we have with Luka-Doncic. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes, I would agree with that, but at the same time, it's like Rob Pelinka needs to, also be on that same page as well, because I don't know if it's all about what they're prioritizing, to be honest. Are you prioritizing, giving a good send-off, or are you prioritizing the next 10 years? All right, because Laker fans ain't got no patience, all right, for, no championships, right? That's why I said we are in the business of winning now. We ain't in the business of developing.
That's facts.
Right?
That's facts.
So figure this shit out, because if we have another first round exit this season and then we go into next season with like virtually the same shit, oh yeah, we gonna be mad. We gonna be mad as fuck.
It's crazy that we're going to miss LeBron.
Yes.
I mean,
For
we
sure.
literally, on our show, we cannot go 1 week without discussing LeBron or the Lakers.
And the
I'm
plan
sorry,
was-
without discussing who?
Without
LeBron.
discussing LeBron or the Lakers.
oh,
Oh, okay. Especially Kyle.
no, hey, look, LeBron James is great.
Yeah, today's great. Then tomorrow or Friday he's that fucking old bastard.
You know what, Kyle? Hey, look, for the chat that's watching right now, which I think we got a decent bit right now. Kyle, next stream, which is on Friday night, I want you to come with a minute monologue of your appreciation for LeBron James.
Yeah, right. I will not do that.
The man just said.
Kyle,
he was
it's just saying. Kyle said he will come with a monologue about LeBron James. Can't wait.
You can talk about LeBron in every category of basketball, but I will not come up here and say, well, it all started in 2003.
Very nice. Chris, you were going somewhere special with that take, I hope, as far as
Nah, just saying the man just said, I ain't gonna get on Murray. We're gonna leave that alone. I mean, because he was just saying that, Jamal Murray, he'd take Jamal Murray as a scorer.
I did not say that. No.
Okay.
You did say that.
Crack, you were
You did say
smoking
that. You
day.
did say that. That's
Say
the
that.
exact words you said.
Word.
I just picked off before what you said. What did I? What
And then
what
you
did
laughed it off. He was like, ha, ha, ha.
I even called you out. I said, "What the hell did you just say?"
Right. But it's all good.
Look,
It's all good, man.
figured out my issue is because scoring wise, when we were talking about that, but I compare, LeBron to somebody. It's such a difference in the name of person. It's hard to get my point because it's such a difference. And like LeBron, Jamal Murray. So I get what you're saying, but I know what y'all saying. But LeBron's
Do
great.
you normally run from smoke like this?
There's no smoke that is being ran from.
Why are you running?
There's no smoke being ran from. I appreciate LeBron and what he's done for the NBA.
Oh, shit. That was a good one. I like that one.
We agree, Dove Tech. It is crazy how much the league still revolves around LeBron, and we can all enjoy that sentiment. It's a blessing, really.
It was another question that came up that you said you wanted to circle back. I mean, we could jump to the topic, but I just want to remind you that there was something in the chat that you wanted to address and come back to earlier, D.
Oh, yeah. There's a few questions actually that are kind of like.
All right, we
Off,
can jump to them or
off.
jump to the next up, wherever you are. I just want to remind you of it.
Well, no, since I do want to revisit some, we can do it now and then save Trae Young for the end. Real quick, this one's more for you, Chris. But the question on TikTok was, what do you think about the gambling scam? I know we talked about this before.
Why is that for me? No, just hold up. No,
Remember, I didn't mean to air out your business. My
hold
bad.
up
I didn't mean to air out your business.
yeah, Lutes don't gamble. But yeah, man, shit. This topic, whoever put that up on the chat, that topic, man, that we could do a whole segment on that topic because there's so many layers to it. Obviously, it's just a hell of a, potential conflict of. Nah, watch your mouth. Hey, the chat is on fire. We mess with y'all on the chat, baby. Y'all
Oh my God! Watch his mouth.
Watch your mouth, Kyle. Watch your mouth now. He said,
Right.
I'm surprised I ain't saying nothing about your camera. Yeah.
But yeah, no, the gambling, man, I mean, they keep getting the famous guys, right? And then there's all these narratives. What's my man Pablo is doing all of this investigative reporting, and he's finding out that like players that there was a report about a player playing in the CBA in China who has been kind of really that was the blueprint of what they used to tap in with this ring in the NBA, and yet that player hasn't faced any repercussions or anything like that. Not spitting no names, and I ain't no snitch, but I'm just repeating what Pablo and those guys reported. But I mean, it's just so many layers to this, man. You obviously have all of the platforms, with sports betting, which, hey, we free agents, we don't have sports betting, but we possibly will.
Yep.
So it's a tough conversation. It's like, it's kind of those things when you tell your kid or something like, don't touch the stove, because it's going to be hot, and then the kid is like, I wonder how hot it is. You know what I mean? Let me get a little closer just to see. And I think we're always going to have that. It's the same thing that dying cities in the United States would typically have with allowing gambling to be legalized in like casinos and things of that nature. Typically came with a lot of bit of crime. So there was always that trade-off. When I lived in Detroit, there was a big thing that the mayor at the time was dealing with in the community on, do we want to legalize gambling, have casinos come here, and then the crime aspect. So I think it's the same thing. But that shit, man, there's so many layers to that. I mean, we can just talk on subject after subject with that, but hopefully, they kind of get a handle on it and kind of figure this thing out, and hopefully the noise can get closed at some point, right? Like turn the page on it, or otherwise it's just going to be or it's going to just be something that's just going to continue to sting and be kind of in the background of every season, coming up. What's so funny? What we got now? Somebody
Said, oh shit!
I heard somebody's stomach growling or something.
Somebody on TikTok said, "Why is Kyle using a microwave as his camera?"
Oh my god!
Oh, shit.
TikTok on fire.
I don't know when this damn thing started messing up so much, but hey, don't worry. This Friday will be different. I'll be back in action on Friday.
Cap.
I tried to use another camera today. The shit freezes.
Few moments later.
The joint freezes after I don't know why. So
we're gonna take a GoFundMe for Kyle. With a
hey, shit.
You don't need no GoFundMe. That shit cost like $50.
Listen.
Okay, so going back to the chat, there are a few more that I do want to address that were some earlier subjects. Okay, Mr. I Am Black Mall earlier said, I've been telling people Ant-Man is better than Luka for 2 years now. That take is going to age like wine. What do we think about that? Is Ant-Man a better player than Luka Doncic?
Honestly, I can't fucking argue with him. I can't. He plays both sides, and he's just as equally offensively gifted. Man, more athletic. I can't argue with that. I really can't. Obviously, Luka's the more accomplished because he's been in the league longer. It has more first-team All-NBAs. But what Ant-Man could be once he really, really reaches his prime, I see MVP. Maybe multiple MVPs. I see it. He's got it all. Face of the league.
The only thing Luka got over Ant-Man is more consistent three-pointer. Not that Ant can't shoot.
I don't even think you can argue that, Kyle.
That's what I mean, because
He led the league in made 3-pointers last year.
And yeah, 2 years in a row. But I'm just, I don't know. I think that's accurate. I think Ant-Man is better than Luka, and the biggest reason is both sides of the court.
Both sides of the court. That's a big one for me. I've been battling this conversation actually all day today when I looked at this take because I when we started this season, even when we argued MVP early on, I was rooting for Luka just because the amount of things he does on the court outside of it being defensively, like he legitimately fills the stat sheet. And then today I said that to myself again. I said, fills the stat sheet. They got on Russell Westbrook about this, about hunting triple doubles, right? Filling the stat sheet. And it minimized his talent and him as a player for a long time. Do you think it's time we kind of start looking at Luka in that light? When you're doing all that statistically and it's not resulting in clear wins for your team, which it did for Dallas for a while, but it's not doing it this year. Do you think that is what kind of is a separator between him and a player like Anthony Edwards, where he doesn't have to get 30, 10, and 10, but can do it in a way that's affecting the game in a more winning manner?
I mean, you could do it in a way that's more effective and conducive to winning. I'm not going to get on Russ for doing what he did because he had no choice but to do that. Look who's on that team.
Right. It wasn't enough.
I have to get 30, 10, and 10. Otherwise, we ain't winning. All right.
Right.
Yeah, and also I don't think we should. I don't want to defame his career, because Luka is great. You know what I'm saying? So his game is his game. I don't think he hunts it so much. I don't think Westbrook hunted it either. But
No.
he just needs to play defense. He just needs to play defense. He just needs to do better and give more effort on the court. I think his peers need to hold him to a better standard because you're playing in the NBA. You literally came across the pond to play in the NBA. So just live up to that standard that you played at. Yes, you've been playing for a long time. Yes, all the other things that you can have for yourself personally. But at the end of the day, this is the standard of basketball, which is the NBA, and you need to hold yourself to that standard because you are one of the best players in the league currently.
I like that. Good take, gentlemen. As far as TikTok goes, because obviously we got to be a little bit more interactive. FYF Sports Debates. Love your content, and thank you for tuning in with us on TikTok. Pushing this along to our last segment of the day, I do want to talk about DC because obviously, Kyle, that's and Aaron too. That's where you originate from. That's where we're from, and there's been nothing to hope for since John Wall and Brad, and then before then, obviously when Gil was there. But this young talent that the Wizards have put together with the veterans that they pulled in, if AD is healthy, the squad looks really scary in my opinion. I think they could be a top 5, top 6 team if they were to do things, and that's me being hopeful, right? But Aaron, you look at Trae Young, Alex Sarr, and eventually, obviously, Anthony Davis. Are the Wizards quietly building the most exciting roster that we'll see next year? And how many games will it take for this trio to actually win and come together? What do you think their record looks like?
I see them getting in a play-in spot next season. Because obviously we don't know what Anthony Davis is going to be like next season. Yeah. If he's going to be even on the team. He may request a trade this summer because he plainly doesn't want to be there. Let's just be honest. But I do like the team. I do like Trae Young, Alex Sarr, and the young fella Trey Johnson. Not to mention they still got a top 8 pick protected too.
Yeah,
they still got a top 8 pick. So who knows who they're going to draft? And this year's draft class is loaded. So you got another young talent being added to this already young core. So I'm excited to see what the Wizards are going to do. Not necessarily next year, but the years to come. Next year, I just see them as a play-in team.
Kyle, I want to pivot to you. What's your thoughts on what the Wizards could look like next year?
Same. I think they're going to be a playing team because I think chemistry does matter. But I think they just have that core. It really depends on AD because is he going to be healthy? Is something going to happen? Hopefully that curse or whatever he got going with him ends here. But you have a great point guard. You have a great power forward. If he's healthy, you have a great center. If he's doing well, you got what's his name, George, the shooting guard. they have a solid team. So, and I think they can put up numbers and make their way up the ranks in the East. And also, and I just and kind of just shout out to the W too. They have a solid team too. With my girl Sonia Citron, the shooter. Like I'm just glad that they're bringing more energy back to DC, and I can go to the games and actually expect them to win, and not looking at the other team when I go there. So
Yeah. And Chris, what do you think about Washington?
I think that could be a great option for some older guys that, still want to be a focal point of a team in Trae Young and AD. Unique situation for Trae. Trae is on a player option. So 26, 27 seasons is a player op for him. And so I would imagine that whoever his agent is at this time, hopefully is looking to sign a long-term deal. So depending on where they're at from a money standpoint, they need to figure that out probably this summer, lock him in on a long-term deal, and then that's that commitment, that Trae would probably be looking for. If it results in him just having to take the player option and then go into free agency, then that could be tough. And then you really don't have a future from a team standpoint, kind of you made the trade for him, but what are you going to get out of it? So all that will have to be addressed this summer, and I would imagine they discussed some of that prior to the actual trade, that there was going to be a commitment from Trae to lock in long term. So look for a long-term extension with Trae Young sometime this summer around free agency.
Yeah, well said. So for me, and I've talked about this a lot with AD, I mean, there's a couple players that have been vocal about positions. I mean, Kevin Durant's a little less vocal about this, but when they fill the position, then they're at their most elite. And I think KD and AD are those two players. When KD plays a 3, even the 4, never out of 5, then I feel like that's where you get the most out of him. But Anthony Davis, he's been a lot more vocal on this, where he has to play the 4. And I think being in DC, if he decides to stay there, I know, Aaron, you talked about that, he might want to leave. I think if he plays the 4, or at least is able to switch out of that 5 more often, then I think you're getting the best out of AD. And right now, I mean, I look at DC, and that's why I'm very excited about it. I want to go to more games because Trae Young, in my opinion, is and I talked about this in that video, a top 2, top 3 passer in the league, if not sometimes, some nights, the best passer in the league. James Harden, they have the same situation where they know how to get bigs involved, and that's why him and Capella worked so well. Capella worked well with James Harden too. And so when you have a young star that can run the floor like Alex Sarr, and then you pair that with Anthony Davis, who, we've seen what he's able to do at the rim, then the court becomes more wide open for those players. And so, I mean, Sarr is 7'1". That frame is crazy. He leads the league and top 5 in blocks I talked about. His footwork is insane. I know you appreciate that more than anyone, Aaron. And he beats a lot of bigs down the floor. So again, you're pairing that with AD's radius, and AD has the ability to stretch the floor too now. He's able to finish through contact. With defenses in the league next year, it's really going to be like when you look at the Wizards, pick your poison scenario, right? Do we guard Alex at the rim? Do we guard AD in the mid range or or get into the bucket? What do you do when you come off that screen with Trae? You got to step out there. So you can't play a drop coverage because one of Trae's signature moves is the floater if he's not pulling up for a 3. And then you let that go, and it's a highlight the room for either Alex Sarr or AD. So that's why I'm very excited about what they could be. It's not really the flashiness of it, but it's just the amount of pressure that they're going to be able to put on defenses. And so I don't know. When we talk about number of wins, I got them, if we're taking a poll right now, at about, I don't know, if they can log, that's the valid point. If they can log 60-plus games together, then I got them at a 45, 48 win squad next year. And I will say this. Let me put this on record right now, just in case. If they play that many games together and they look good and healthy and no one's injured and everyone stays and they get the decent pick this year, I don't think anybody was going to want to see them in a 7-game series next year. Let me put that on record right now. I swear. It sounds crazy now, but seriously,
if they finish as an 8 seed.
They finish at an 8 seed.
If they finish as an 8 seed, you're gonna have to deal with either Detroit, Boston, or New York, and you know what that means? BTA. Boot to ass.
It's crazy. I'm serious though.
What you were saying though, Darren, like they do complement each other so well. Like
yes,
like Trae can with the floater, the jump shot. AD can stretch the floor. Sar is gonna in the paint. He's gonna be a bully down there. So, and if he needs to, he can shoot. But they complement each other so well. So he's not a shooter. I was just saying he's shot.
No, not you. That's not what I'm saying. Dude on TikTok said you still have to hide Trae on defense, which is impossible. See, but that's where having pressure from exactly Anthony Davis and Alex Sarr helps. We were just talking about the same scenario with trying to hide Luka with Giannis and Homeboy. So same thing happens with Trae. You just have to have the schemes to do so. So that comes down to coaching.
So Alex said, Axel said, who should Washington build their team around?
Who should they build around? I mean,
superstar.
Is that not clear as day, right? Yeah, like Trae Young. Come on now.
The all NBA nigga.
Like, what the fuck?
We ain't got off potential. We ain't got off potential if healthy.
And look, you could potentially be all NBA, but we don't know that yet. We already got a proven all NBA player.
Yeah, right. And I hope he's able to play the full season next year and show what he can really do, because he's been disrespected when All-Star comes around almost every year. I hope that changes next year for Trae Young.
His narrative is proving people wrong. Since high school, he's had to prove somebody wrong, prove the media wrong every single time. So.
Yep.
Axel, I don't know how many times I got to tell you, I don't care about that defensive shit unless it's my Lakers, all right? I don't care. I don't care.
Good stuff. Let me see if there's anything else in the chat that we want to talk about before we get up out of here. Unless there's anything you guys had real quick.
I think I saw something that somebody said.
Did we ever get back to the question that Chris was talking about earlier?
What was it?
I don't know. You said that you wanted to go back to the question.
I think I started to go through some of those that they didn't have relevance. Like,
Oh, somebody said, I want to know why Axel, he said, I want to know why y'all thought Mikey Williams is not good.
oh, that came from TikTok.
Who was it? First of all, you that's you, because you the one who said that.
Remind me what the actual take was.
It was the question of, would you rather deal with a player who always thought he was better than he was, or just never lived up to how good he could possibly be? And you said,
right.
And I said I felt Julian Newman was that kind of player who always thought he was better than he was.
Right.
You said Mikey Williams. I was like, that's a whole different scenario. That year of him missing basketball hurt him, but we already knew what he was going to be had he gone straight from high school to University of Memphis to play with Penny, or play for Penny Hardaway. We knew what he was going to be. So to say he didn't live up to what we thought, that's kind of unfair, because he was going through that whole trial. Now that he's at Sac State, we see what he is, and he's really, really good.
Damn.
With a 4.0.
Damn.
4.0. He talked about he wanted to be a marine biologist.
He hit the heat button on yourself, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question. Thank you, Aaron. Anything else? Darion give us Nima because Mikey cold. Yeah. DeAndre Ayton is both of those things.
Oh.
Is both those things. Both
things.
which things?
I think defensively.
Clarify.
I think you're saying defensive player and offensive player. I'm assuming.
No, he's not. Don't get me started on that nigga. I'm not trying to get my blood pressure up. Stop trying to get my blood pressure up.
If you had to give me one quote on DeAndre Ayton, Aaron, what would that be?
A disappointment.
I'm gonna say Julian Newman. Like,
No,
Never.
I'm not even going to do that to Julian. A disappointment.
All right, great.
That's the only thing
All
I
right.
have to say.
We could keep the chat going all night, but I know you guys, we gotta get up out of here. We'll be back on Friday. Chris, you want to go and close us out with some motivation?
No, not for today.
Damn. All right, Kyle, give me a motivational quote.
I ain't got a motivational quote, but I just want to sit here and say, LeBron James is a great player, and then anybody get for LeBron James, I will be here for you. I can tell you some good stats about him. Just want to make sure everybody knows LeBron James is great.
Excellent. I love it. Real quick, for everyone that's been here today, we obviously want to say thank you because we're trying to grow this community, and without you guys, we would not be able to do that. On TikTok, we had almost 10,000 likes and a consistent viewership. That's probably been my favorite part about all this. If we can convert that to YouTube, that'd be the biggest blessing. So thank you. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap in with us on Instagram as well as far as questions and topics that you would want to see. We're always trying to get you guys involved. Again, Darion from Entirely Media, Chris Lucci, lovely NBA agent, has been around the game longer than anyone I know and can get you right in terms of any type of deal that you need. Kyle Murphy, not too much to say on him. And then our certified beige band